Hi, I'm Victoria Hargis, your transition coach, and I'm very happy to be here today. I didn't start out okay this morning. Actually, I started working and I could feel myself knotting up inside and just getting more and more constricted. So I decided to go down to the beach at Sullivan's Island and walk around and then go to my favorite restaurant and have an acai bowl, which I've shared with you before. So that's what I did. I went down and I walked on the beach. And the beach was filled with all sorts of people, but it was filled with probably as many dogs as there were people. And I was reminded about how, as a young child, I was terrified of dogs. It was a fear that was all-encompassing, that I didn't even have to see the dog. I just had to hear a chain rattle, and I would be filled with fear and trying to get away from that sound. You know, we have all sorts of conditionings in our life. And we can choose to stay in them and be fearful the rest of our life, or to work through them one by one until we come out, until we're free and able to live as abundantly as possible. When I was 19, that fear of dogs, that fear that kept me running and hiding whenever a dog would show up, when I was 19, I decided I wasn't going to live like that anymore. And I bought my first dog. It was kind of a love-hate relationship going on there because I still was scared of dogs. But since that time, I have owned dogs my whole life, sometimes more than one. And while that fear has not totally left me, if I see a strange dog, I am still very careful and cautious. I'm able to be around them without freaking. Because, you know, a few years ago, well, maybe a little bit more than a few years ago, but I would never have been able to walk on that beach with all those dogs running around, even though each one of those dogs had an owner that was in control of them. The very thought that there were dogs on that beach would have stopped me from experiencing the peace that descended on me today. How many times in your life have you let fear stop you from getting or achieving what you desire in life, or even to experience the pleasures of life, because our fear holds us back? And it might not be a fear of dogs. It might be the fear of a social situation, or it might be the fear of authority, or it might be the fear of our own internal power. I would ask for you on this day, on Sunday, on a beautiful, sunny day in South Carolina, that just for today, pick one thing that you fear and make the first tiny step forward. Buying my first dog was a tiny step forward. Well, actually back then it was probably a giant leap for me. But I conquered that fear, and because I conquered that fear, I was able to enjoy the beach and not let my fear overtake me. Please share your comments and your questions and your life stories below. I would love to hear them. And I hope that you have a blessed and holy day. Thank you. I'm Victoria Hargis, your transition coach.